Hey guys, welcome back to the Infinite Canvas podcast. This is episode 20, which we are dubbing Once Upon a Time. We'll get more into that when the episode proper starts. Next week, we'll actually start releasing the Spectrum storyline that me, David, our friend Paul, you might have recognized them from the Champions of Centra, as well as Donovan, who you should also recognize from Champions of Centra, where they each play different superheroes in a superhero world that is modeled after our own world, set here in scenic Dallas, actually. So we're happy to announce that starting next week, we'll be releasing those, and every week after that as well, instead of the usual every other week, just for the run of Spectrum Files. After that, we'll be going back to our once every other week format until we decide otherwise. Now, everything else goes all right and smoothly also. We should be having a Curse Quest update tomorrow. If not, then, well, I lied to you then. Well, until next time, guys, I hope you guys enjoy this week's episode.
Minutes of pure pelvic thrust.
What? Damn it, John, stop it! Oh, Phil, I don't know if you've noticed, but I love doing that at the beginning of episodes.
What?
I just started recording while you guys were talking.
Oh, no.
The first thing everyone's gonna hear you say is pelvic thrusting, by the way.
And those are the first words that Phil is ever going to say on this podcast.
Oh, no. Well, I'm making a great first impression.
Hey, go hard or go home, right?
Well, I can't say I was hard, but I'm definitely at home.
Hey guys, welcome to the Infinite Canvas podcast. This is David here. How are you guys doing today?
Well, I'm doing great. I think my name is John. I don't think I'm John Venegas. I haven't introduced myself in a long time. And I think in the show I have, but like, we haven't recorded in a while. So this feels really, really different to me.
We recorded like 5 days ago.
Oh yeah, we did. Man, life is really, it does stuff to you, you know? Time is all out of whack.
By the way, you heard him at the beginning of the show talking about his pelvic thrusting. Hey, John, who is this other guy we have in here, and why is he here?
So I think his name is Phil.
Can you confirm or
I'm pretty
deny?
sure that's right.
Okay.
I'm going to confirm that one. Hey, guys, it's me, Phil. Last name is confusing, so we'll just stick with Phil for right now. So... pelvic thrusts. That was an interesting intro. Thanks, John, for that.
That is Phil's news name. Phil Pelvic Thrust.
Actually, out of curiosity, do you feel comfortable with saying your last name, or is that just a thing you didn't want to bring up?
No,
yes,
you're good. You don't have to say your last name. That's what we do. I can
It's
edit
too
all
late
of that
now.
out. I can edit it out
on the internet.
You know, if you want me, I'll edit it out.
Philip,
You don't
yes,
have
Fountain.
to say it all. It's just that's just
okay.
what we always do.
My rule for presidency is diminished, so it's okay.
I'll go ahead and edit
You'll
it
be
out
fine,
because
you'll
I don't
be
want
fine.
you to come back at us and say, John, you risked everything, all my livelihood. Now I live on the street because of the pelvic thrust.
Oh my goodness. You know, to be fair, I didn't give the same courtesy to Paul or Don. I feel like Paul probably wants some level of privacy, but I fucked that one up. And I know Don doesn't give a shit.
All right, so what are we doing today, boys?
I don't
See,
know.
I like this guest. He goes ahead and just goes straight for the questions.
It's like he's trying to be professional. You should take some notes from that, John.
I don't know what that means.
So, hey, John, what are we doing today?
Well, we're going back to the basics. We're going to be trying to tell a story And because we're really bad at this on our own, we're going to have something guide us this time.
Hey, I
Pretty
don't
much.
know. I'm pretty good at coming up with original stories. As long
We
as
spent
you're
an
not
hour and a half last time talking about Marvel Comics.
Oh
I don't
god.
know how much of an original story Marvel has, but
They have some originality. Oh god, I think the 3 stories I chose last episode were poor examples of that, but they have some originality to them.
I don't know. This is an audio format, so nobody at home can see this, but I am rolling my eyes.
Well, I mean, you spent most of the last
So-
episode complaining about characters dying and coming back to life. So
I did so much.
So hey, John,
so-
what game are we playing today?
It's a fantasy game known as Once Upon a Time. I don't actually know how to describe it any more than those simple 4 words. That is
Well,
a fairy
guys,
tale game.
For those who don't know, Once Upon a Time, other than a TV show, it's also an amazing card game. Somewhat, it's not a deck builder game, but it does involve cards. You use cards to tell stories. You have story cards and ending cards. And our ending, each one gets one ending that that person has to try to get to, while telling the same story. So it's me, John, and Phil are going to be telling one story together that we each have to get to our own endings to basically win the game. I don't know if you want to take it as competitive. It's supposed to be a mixture of competitive and a cooperative game. But if you really care about winning, then you can screw one over and get to your ending as soon as possible if you want. But
okay.
So,
John, we're gonna go truthsies on this, or to enjoy the experience.
Well, here's the thing. When it comes to most types of collaborative games, I tend to be very oh, damn, I was going to use the word submissive. No, I was about to say the word submissive, but I realized that does not work in the context of friends playing games.
John, what you spend your Saturday nights doing, I don't care.
I'm sorry, I was going to use the wrong word.
I know what that is. My wife made me watch 50 Shades of Grey.
Yes, your wife made you watch 50 Shades of Grey.
Should I feel sadder that I just know what that is without having ever picked up that book or read or seen any of those movies?
I think
Something you
everyone
can tell
knows
us,
what
John.
that is.
I didn't expect this to be the first time we ever mentioned something like that.
We're progressive.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So,
I was
do
going
all of
somewhere
you know
with
how
that.
to play Once Upon a Time?
Yeah, I need a refresher
Right?
course.
A refresher course. Okay. Like I said, everyone's going to be dealt one ending card. And, well, I'm actually deal y'all 3, and I'll let y'all choose which one of them you want to get to. So, again, you have the ending cards, which is the end goal of this. You're trying to tell the story and finish it with your ending card.
Okay.
You also get dealt, let me do the math really quick. It's 8 storytelling cards. So you use the storytelling cards to progress your story. In order for you to continue telling the story, you have to keep playing cards. Okay? So you win the game, like I said, by reaching your ending. So, and you reach your ending by running out of your cards, and your last card you play is your ending card. So, that's simple. Only rules that this game has is that whatever card you play, that has to be a main, like, I wouldn't say figure, but it has to be important to the story. You cannot play 2 cards in one sentence, and you have to make sure each card you play gets at least 2 sentences. So you can't play a princess and a house card in the same sentence, as in, oh, the princess, I play the princess card, lives in a house, I play the house card, and, the house was in a kingdom, so I play the kingdom card. Each card has to have at least 2 sentences to them. Also, if you continue telling the story without playing a card, after a certain limit, the other two players can choose to take the story away from you because you're rambling. So there's no rambling in this. You say 3 ums, you automatically lose your turn. Because
I say 3 ums in one sentence.
Whoa, man.
David.
It's like back in interview days. Jeez.
Oh my goodness.
Well, it's more like if you say 3 consecutive ums, like if you're like you lose your turn. You can say throughout the whole sentence if you want. That would make a bad sentence. But if you say 3 ums, back to back, then you lose your turn there. Okay.
Right, so no Valley Girl. No.
So,
something like that.
So I'm gonna have a Valley Girl princess. Just telling you right now.
Okay. So to progress the turns, any player can take the story away from another player, either by playing a card that of a certain item that the other player set. So say the other player was describing a house, and he says, "Oh, this house is very big." If he says the word "big" and you have a card that's either the word "big" or a synonym of the word "big," you can play that card from your hand, and now you take the story. Again, the word the player says doesn't have to be the exact word, but as long as it has the same meaning or, a synonym of the word, then you can go ahead and play that card and take the story from the player. Whenever the story is taken away from a player, either by choice of the player passing it, or if it's being taken away, that player draws a card.
Okay.
There are some cards in the deck that say interrupt. All interrupt cards are automatic interrupts. So say, but you can only use them at a certain point. Each one can only be used when a certain color of a card is played.
So they're trap cards.
Kind of. So say John plays a character card, which I think that's a yellow card. So he plays a yellow card, and then Phil, you have it interrupt yellow. So you can use that card to take the story away from John. Now you don't have to use what it says on the card. So even if the card said like princess, you don't have to use a princess in the story because you're using the card to interrupt them.
Oh, it's a wild card.
Yeah, something like that. You still have to take the story off of John where he left it off. So whatever he introduced, you now have to take it.
I'm throwing a dragon in there. I will tell you right now.
Oh, jeez.
So hold on.
Yes.
No, I just to be clear. So you're telling me, like, in the context of, like, let's pretend Little Red Riding Hood was one of these stories, right?
Yes.
Little Red Riding Hood, somebody's telling the story of Red, and they're, like, progressing, and it's fine, and dandy, and whatever. And then somebody plays a wild card and just throws a lumberjack at them.
Well, no.
That's what
we're
this
progressive
is.
here. It's okay.
Wait, what do you mean?
No, you don't. I mean, as the interrupter, you don't introduce a random thing.
That's what they did in Little Red Riding Hood, though. The lumberjack just shows up.
Well, that's true.
I mean, there's a huntsman.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant. I don't know why
the huntsman was already in the story.
I don't remember him.
I don't read fairy tales, so I don't know. But so yeah, kind of have an idea how the game is played, right?
All right. Keep rambling until someone calls bullshit and then get to your ending. Done.
Basically.
This is just like politics.
Okay, so I am gonna deal out 3 cards to everyone, and yeah, this is gonna be your ending card. This game tends to go pretty fast depending on how good the storytellers are. So we could probably get.
Faith's high on this one.
We could probably do 2 rounds, but we'll see what happens after the end of this first round. Okay. So I'm going to deal y'all your 3 cards, and you just click on the card, and you can use it. Now you
shoot, I accidentally stole one of Phil's cards.
You can't steal cards.
Why are you stealing the card, man?
It's a ceiling.
Okay.
I just wanted to double check to see if I could see them or not.
So the ending card cannot be... you're the only person that knows what your ending is, so please do not reveal it. Whatever cards you don't choose, you can drag it out of your deck and just put it on the table.
So how will the audience know?
I I don't. At the end, I'll have y'all record what your ending was, and I'll put it at the beginning.
Okay.
So remember,
So we're just picking one right now?
Yes, any card you don't. The other two cards you don't choose, you can drag it out of your deck and just leave it on the table.
Is there a limit to how quick you can get the story done? I mean, I know that you want to tell a good story, so like I'm not trying to tell it like in
there's no
three
time
turns,
limit. It's
but...
basically as soon as you get to your ending, you play it. But so yeah, so again, you have to give each card you play at least 2 sentences. No less.
Somebody played their card. I can't read what it says.
No, you just put. I told you, remove 2 cards by dragging it onto the table. Those are not going to be cards you use.
Okay. I picked mine. It sounds really cool.
Go ahead and deal y'all out. If you want to draw the cards, we're playing this on roll 20 for the listeners. If you want to draw a card, you have to hover over the deck and then click that little card that's like on the top. It's like peeking out. So that's how you'll draw a card. Right now, I'm just going to deal y'all your hand. So we get 8 cards.
Okay.
So technically there should be 9 cards in our hand, right? Oh! Okay. So I didn't know that Roll20... Okay, so by the way, Roll20 can separate cards in your hand apparently into 2 different piles. And that's really cool.
Okay, the only thing I don't like about the Roll20 thing is that you can't really see the deck. I mean, your cards. I have to zoom in. Yeah, that's the only thing, but I'm like zooming in. I'm making the web thing bigger so I can see it. And for some reason...
Question, can you play interrupts even if it's not used as an interrupt?
Yes. Interrupt cards are just the same cards as anything as all the other ones. It's just that, say, you play, someone plays a card that has the yellow symbol on there. I think yellow is characters. If someone plays a character, but you don't you don't have that character in your hand, but you do have a yellow interrupt, which is a character interrupt card, then you can play that and take the story away from the player. Okay. So now,
oh my god, I don't know how mine is gonna work. None of these things match my ending.
Okay, so. So I'm gonna say the way you figure out who goes first in this is that we're technically supposed to draw the top card of the deck until we get a character, and whoever looks the most like it goes first. But it's very annoying to draw cards.
Okay, so for context,
it's very annoying to draw cards.
We are 3 brown people that have black hair and wear glasses. This is going to be very difficult. I mean, unless one of them is handsome, we know which one that one is.
So I'm going to do a different way, and we can do 2 ways. We can do the 2 other ways. Is the person who has most recently read a fairy tale, or the person who most recently has written something.
Written
an
something?
essay, a paper, a book, anything like that. So if we go with the person who has read the recent person who has read a fairy tale, I think I go last because I don't think I've ever written a fairy tale.
Okay, well I wrote a comic like 2 days ago, so I don't know.
I got you guys beat. I got 2 children at home, and guess who reads a bedtime story every night? Bam!
Okay, Phil, if you want to go first, you can go first.
Okay, let's see here.
So every story starts with once upon a time.
Once upon a time, there was an ugly. Let's see if I can play my card here. Ugly. There you go. Ogre. His name was William.
William. Okay.
William the Ogre. Yes.
Okay. Was he a standard ogre, or was he like what was so unique about this ugly ogre?
Well, he had the most unusual facial features in that he had 2 noses.
2 noses.
2 noses and 3 eyes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so he lived in a small, let's say, hut.
A small hut. Okay.
A small hut on the outskirts of a very large metropolis village.
Mm-hmm.
and he was very ugly and he was sad because he wanted to go live in the village. But there was a war going on. A horrible, horrible war between the ogres and, let's say... I can't say elves because that's too standard. Let's go with the gnomes. Oh, that was nasty. The gnomes are so annoying.
So wait, were the gnomes having a war with the ogres? Or...
With the ogres, yes.
Okay. So wait, I'm guessing, was this ogre like an evil, or was he...
No, he was a very nice ogre. He just wanted to live in peace in his little hut, and he loved the gnomes, actually. He was at war with them. Well, his kind was. But he loved the culture of the gnomes, their magic, their shenanigans, and they had a thriving social media. Yeah.
I'm sorry, thriving what?
That's social media. You know, you have Twitter. But
so they had Twitter back then?
Well, it wasn't Twitter. It was more like Skitter because they're tiny to the ground.
Okay.
Yes, and so he loved to be interacting with people, but people didn't like him because he was so ugly.
Oh, how did that make him feel?
It's so sad.
Oh, sad, right?
Sad.
Okay. So
David played the sad card.
Yes.
Okay. And so, now you have to draw a card?
Ooh, this is a good one. All right.
Okay.
Did you show it to us?
Wait, did you accidentally show it?
Oh. So I've got that card.
Well, we all know what it is, so for those of you at home listening...
Wait, they don't know what it is. Okay, so, yeah, this very sad ogre, again, he couldn't really... They were having this war, so he really couldn't do much, and no one wanted to be his friend, so he thought he'll make friends.
Oh.
And by force.
Oh.
And so he would sneak into the, you said it was a gnome, right? Gnomes?
Yes, a gnome metropolis.
Yeah, gnome metropolis. He would sneak through the back way of the gnome metropolis, and he will kidnap some gnomes and force them to be his friends. So he will keep them prisoners. And so, yeah, he would take them, and he would try to be, try to light them, try to lighten his mood, because hey, if I'm not gonna make friends, the normal way, I'll force them to be my friends. And all the gnomes that he will kidnap, always thought of him as being very wicked. He was a very wicked ogre for doing that.
Oh, he was so nice to begin with.
Well, I mean, when you're alone for so long with no friends, yeah, that dark side starts to get to people.
Oh, no.
And so, yeah, he was lonely. All he wanted was to have some companions, but he was so ugly with his 2 noses and 3 eyes that no one loved him. No one loved him, and so
what did the gnomes do about this?
Well, every night they plan to try to break out, and to escape the ogre and his trap, because they want to get back to their home, because there's a war going on, and they want to help support their country to win and put an end to these wicked ogres, because how ugly they are, especially this one. And
that sounds a little racist, David. What did the ogres ever do to you?
Hey, it's not me. It's the gnomes. The gnomes are the ones that think that.
No, this is how writers are. They always hide behind their characters' racism. Just like H.P. Lovecraft.
And so, yeah, it's not me. It's the gnomes. And so, yeah, they think all these ogres are wicked because of they really haven't met any other ogres, but except for this one. So they're just going off of what they know. So it's not really their fault. That's what they got stuck with. To admit, I don't even know what my ending was. What was my ending? Okay. Okay, I got it. So they every night they try to escape. They try to pick the lock to escape from their cages. To see one day they actually were able to do it. They were able to pick the lock when the ogre was sleeping.
Well, how did they do that?
All these questions.
Some magic stuff. They found a stick and they were able to bang the lock. It was a giant. He came back from hunting, and he left his beating stick too close to the cage, and the gnomes were able to reach it, and they started
You're
using
telling
it.
me 3-foot gnomes
Yeah.
used a giant stick to pick a lock.
They were really strong gnomes.
They're like
really
Goombas.
strong.
They're
Really
like Goombas.
strong.
You can stack them on top of each other.
Did they have a trench coat too? You just keep stacking them up on each other.
Oh no, Gregory on the bottom! Put your arm back in there! It looks like a little weenie!
And so, they're able. I mean, it took them a while. The ogre, he ate a lot that night, so he actually ended up falling. He fell asleep. He was knocked out. And
How do you eat them? Was it like a kettle or?
he just that same beating stick. He kind of like shoved it in there and just roasting it in a fire.
Oh, you mean like a big fire, like a fire? Because I think what happened is they trench coated themselves like you go to movies for an R-rated movie, and
Fire.
they're like, "There's no gnomes here. There's just me. I am Scuttles, the human." And then he was like, "Oh, well, do you want to come out and enjoy my fire and gnome soup?" And yes, I think that would be most amazing. Thank you, Mr. Ogre. And so, he let the gnomes out of their cage, and they enjoyed some soup made from their fallen brethren.
Oh god, that's a wicked. That is a wicked turn.
It was horrible. That was, oh, you son of a... Wait, did you play card?
No, I didn't.
Oh, thank God. And so, as they're eating it, he actually, an ogre, because, he was also extremely wise in his years. He was about 500 years old. He noticed.
Oh, he's pretty old. He's an old person, then.
Oh, he's a what?
He's an old person, then.
Oh.
He's so wise and old.
You son of a bitch.
And so, again, I don't know where you're trying to go with that, but, somehow the gnomes were able to trick the ogre that, hey, we're not gnomes, we're just a really thin, tall dude. And they start eating out of this soup that the ogre had made for them, and they when they're about to finish, they see something float in the soup, and they see that it's a gnome hat. And they're like, "Oh no, we've been eating ours. We're so delicious. We didn't even think twice on this." And they start freaking out, and so they start gathering up. They disassemble. They hop off each other, and they all pick up sticks and rocks, and they start fight. They're like, you know what? We're gonna fight this ogre. There's nothing else we can do. We have to fend for our lives, and we're gonna go and kill this ogre for what he has made us do. Made us eat our delicious selves.
So do they go? Do they start? Do they just know what to do or what?
Well, no, they picked up sticks and rocks, and started charging at him, just swinging it around, throwing stuff, seeing what just trying to see what would work.
Okay. So I mean, they're going around and picking up stuff.
Yes.
Are they communicating to each other about this, or do they just instinctively know?
Well, that's they're full of rage right now, so they're not really thinking. They're just doing. One of them sees the other one pick up a rock and sees another one pick up a stick. They're like, hey, I'm going to join in this. We're going to take this beast down. And
but they have a single goal that they have in mind.
I guess you can say yes. They want to kill this ogre.
They want to kill this ogre?
Yes.
Is that their plan?
That is what they're hoping the outcome is, yes.
Is that their plan?
If you're trying to make me say plan, then yes, that is their plan.
Well, after you see, after the gnomes start planning this little I guess you could say
This is a skirmish?
it's a skirmish. They're planning to take down this hideous ogre, hideous wicked ogre that they've just found out made them basically forcibly eat themselves, and so they go. Oh shit! I didn't really expect this to happen. And so then they can I draw cards or no?
If you do, you pass your turn.
Okay, I'm not gonna do that then. Alright, so then after they start planning on doing that, they find a horse nearby. It's a magical horse. And
could you say that this horse was magical because it can talk?
No, it's not. It's not like Donkey from Shrek. No, it's actually a it's more akin to like a unicorn, where it's like it glows and stuff like that. It's really cool.
Oh, cool! That's a cool horse. So
is the horse somebody's husband and or wife?
Because John play a horse, which is a character, I use my interrupt card that interrupts a storyteller as soon as he introduces a new character.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how they were able to escape this ogre and just find a horse out of nowhere, since they're busy fighting this ogre. But no, yeah, they somehow managed to escape the grasp of the ogre, and they find themselves with this horse. And the thing is that they start riding the horse as fast as they can, but the ogre is pretty big, and he's able to keep up with them. And so they're kind of, they're still a good distance away, but the ogre is keeping pace with them. But then, as soon as they think they finally, escape this ogre and escape to sight, they actually run into a big, huge river. And the thing is, yes, the river. And the thing is that the horse is what's the phobia for water? He
hydrophobic.
He's hydrophobic, the horse. So he does not want to get in the water. So he actually halts mid charge, and he all the gnomes that were on it just lunge forward, and all
so the horse is like a cell membrane,
pretty hard. Yeah, they're pretty hurt. Yeah, they get someone got hurt. Someone got hurt. And damn it, I don't know how to play this last card. And
David, can you tell me where were they going?
They're just trying to cross this river. They're trying to go back home.
Oh, they're going back home, which is one of my interrupts.
Oh my goodness.
So they were trying to go back home, and this poor gnome, he broke his leg. All the gnomes, they made a little raft together, and they floated him across. They left the horse just to die, because, who likes horses?
Wow, I like horses.
Forget magical horses. They're a dime a dozen unicorns. So they get across the river, and they see this tiny little cottage. Just a little cottage. Smoke spilling out the front. Looks so inviting. They got a nice rose bush outside. And they think, okay, finally, a dry place to sleep to get away from the ogre. So they take their hobbled little comrade, and they get him to the door, and they knock 3 times. Hello? Can we please come in? Nothing. And they knock again. Hello! Please! Scott Pemberton broke his leg! We already ate his brother! Please help us! I hear a creak at the door, and I see one eyeball kind of on the other side, and the old woman's there. And she says, "Who is it?" "It's us! The gnomes!" "Gnomes? I don't know any gnomes." "It's the gnomes from Metropolis. It's huge. You can't even miss it. It's like 2 miles down the road. What the heck have you been doing the last 20 years?" "Oh! Yes, come in!" And so the gnomes, they go in. There's a warm fire there, and the old woman's, stirring up some stew and some soup, which the gnomes are not apt to eat right now after the last experience.
Okay.
They're staying
so she's
far away
cooking
from
food
that.
for them?
She's cooking food for them.
Okay, so she's like a cook then.
Well, actually, she's more like a witch.
Oh,
because
a witch.
A witch,
Okay.
yes. Because inside that soup is actually bones of children.
Oh my god.
Just run-of-the-mill children. But the gnomes are okay with this. They're magical creatures. Shell and murder scream.
Did you have that card too?
What happened?
No,
Who played which?
that was
Phil
me.
did.
Oh! I thought David's like,
No.
oh, cool, it's not the cook. Well, then it's the witch.
It's the so the witch, just like the ogre, is pretty hungry, and the children they're tiny, and there's only like one of them, maybe two. So she's still hungry. The gnomes are at least, there were 7 of them. Now there's 6. So that's a afternoon snack.
Their parents must really miss them.
They do.
Oh.
A lot. Yes. So the witch tries to scoop up the gnomes, but they're tiny and they've got a high dex score so they're kind of flipping around. And
Funnily enough, I actually have the high deck scorecard in here.
but they try to get to the door and it locks by itself. They're stuck in the cottage
Oh.
because evil witch magic.
Oh.
So the gnomes they offer up a contest with the witch.
Mm.
Yes, they said, "Well, you sneaky little witch, you won't let us out, so we could do the democratic thing and just try to come to a conclusion, but this is a story and a fairy tale, so we're not going to do that. We are going to challenge you to a spitting contest because there's one thing gnomes are good at, and that's spitting great distances."
But they're so short. How can they do that?
Large tongues.
Oh, my
You
God.
say
That's
no.
Gnomish
gross.
women are
I
very, very happy.
You say gnomes, but like, oh my god, Bill. Every time you. Oh my goodness. It's Bill, that's not how that works, it's how you use it.
This is not this kind of a story.
Did we say we were going to be telling the story to children? I'm sorry. Just because it says once upon a time does not mean it is for children.
Oldest profession in the book, guys. That's all I gotta say. So, one by one, the gnomes line up and they go.
That sounds gross.
We're gonna edit that later. The first gnome gets about 5 meters out. Second one about 6. Third 7. Fourth 2. He wasn't doing so well. And so the last one, I don't remember where I was going with this one.
You can just pass the story if you
I'm
want.
gonna pass this one.
Oh, I'll definitely take this from you. Okay, so the Bill? Oh, okay, he muted himself. So the last gnome, he spits out, and it goes straight into the witch's eye, and it blinds her.
Wait, why was a witch staying on that side?
She's not that smart apparently, and it just blinds her. And in a fit of panic, she just starts throwing magic bolts everywhere. And the gnomes, of course, they're freaking out. Also, they don't know what to do, and they're just running around rampant. And one of these bolts hits one of the gnomes, and he starts transforming.
Okay.
Yep, he starts transforming. He starts to grow taller, and he turns, I would say, humanoid. But he gets buff and ripped. And this is my Deus Ex Machina. I'm sorry, this is a fairy tale.
You don't have to introduce one.
That's okay, it's fine. So he looks at the witch and he goes... His voice has changed too.
Oh lord.
He looks at the witch. The witch can't see him, so it's fine. And he just goes, "Thank you kindly, ma'am."
What?
So wait, not only does he change looks, but he changes race as well? So now he has a weird Texan accent?
It's magic, David. What do you want me to do? So he wrangles up the other gnomes and he's like, Well, boys, looks to me like we know exactly what to do here. I seem to feel a little bit tougher here. I think we can go back to that.
How different does he look? Does he now like have a cowboy hat or something?
Nah, he looks exactly the same. He just
just bigger. But yet, for some reason, his voice still changed, even though he looks exactly the same.
Look, David, I don't want to give you like a lesson here on how biology works, but you see, like kids, their vocal cords are small, and so then they stretch out and they're very high pitched. But when you get older, your vocal cords get strained and longer, and you start to sound lower like this. Minus the drawl. When you go through
puberty, where's the accent come from? Please.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. When you go through puberty, you don't gain an accent.
You go one day like, oh hi Dad, oh hello Father.
She accidentally swung the Texas two-step transformation sequence at him. So he leads the gnomes out of the house, and they trail back. Now with newborn confidence, they're gonna take down that ogre. And
okay.
Yeah, that's what they're gonna do. And no swords in this story. I just said no swords in this story.
It's okay. It's coming one day.
Oh my god, I really want to give this guy a name, but I can't think of one. And I don't want to just steal the other cowboy from one of our other episodes. So his name is gonna be. Oh damn it! I was gonna say Percy. Just realized it's the exact same name. I'm gonna call him Percy. Fuck it. So Percy leads the other gnomes up, and he sees the ogre on the other side of the riverbed that you said that they crossed. And he looks at him and he goes, "I'm calling you out." And William looks back at him, and I don't remember what William sounded like. You think you're calling me out?
Wait, who was William again?
William is the ogre.
Ogre.
Yeah.
The ogre.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what he sounded like, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You haven't played a card in a while.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So oh shit. I guess I'll pass it for now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do I draw cards at some point or no?
Yes, you draw your card as soon as your turn ends.
So everybody else is drawing cards too, right?
Yes. Well, I've been dealing them out.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't drawn any.
So I'll just.
So up to 4?
No, you get one card, John.
Just one?
Okay, I already gave it to you.
Oh, okay.
And so he wants to call him out, and so the way he wants to do it is by having another contest, a cook-off, because what you do not know is that what was the name of the Texan elf?
I call him gnome, Percy.
No. Percy.
Gnome.
What you don't know about Percy is that back home he is a master cook, and yeah, he tells them, okay, we're gonna cook some mad stew up in here, and I want to challenge you on who can make the better tasty stew. And what he doesn't know is that they're gonna do taste tests, but because Percy is a master cook, he knows what items in the forest are poisonous, and that's what he's gonna put into his soup.
Yeah, so he knows what items in the forest are poisonous, and gotcha. Oh, hey David, you own this game. How do you not have all the cards memorized?
Leave me alone.
So, Percy looks around for different items in the forest that might be poisonous, and he remembers, because for some reason he's a chef now, so he remembers.
He's always finished.
A cowboy chef.
He's a cowboy chef now. So now he remembers. Percy, that's me. I remember this. I'm monologuing, just like one of those things that they do, like in Western movies. But I'm sending this back home to the kids. Dear kids, this is how I killed that ogre. I remember that I found this here mushroom. It was the most. It's a mushroom, and it was so poisonous and so deadly that one taste of it could kill you. But here's the kicker: it's only poisonous to ogres.
What convenient.
How convenient. That is how fairy tales work. There's a moral at the end somewhere, but I don't know where it is. And so he grabs these mushrooms, And he doesn't have to do like a perception check or anything. He's good.
No survival check or anything.
No, he's good. He's good.
Wait, this character is way overpowered. He
Fairy
doesn't even do a cook check. He doesn't do a perception check. Wow. Okay.
He got really lucky on that transformation sequence too. So he gets his pot out and he's like, Mr. Ogre, you got something cooking too? And then the ogre looks at him and he goes, "You're quite foolish, aren't you? Foolish. You are quite foolish. You don't think that you think that I'm stupid. You think that I didn't see you get those mushrooms and put them into your stupid little stew. And you're going to serve them to me and make me die because you think that this poison was made for me? Well, no, sir. That's not what this is at all. This is a very traditional piece of meat that we had back at home. Piece of food that we had back at home in the prairie. Now, here's the thing. I don't know why I'm making like it's the fucking prairie. Okay.
Now he lived in a city, John.
Yeah.
In a metropolis.
Have you been to Grand Prairie? It's a city on a prairie.
You done got me. And done got.
And so then he puts it on he puts it on a log. It's like a makeshift table, and he puts 3 bowls on there, and he puts the mushroom in one, and he goes, "Look, I'm gonna put the mushroom in one of these things here. I'll put some of this. I'll put some of this poison in here. This is guaranteed to kill gnomes." And he hands it to his friend to take a sip, and he, of course, pretends to take a sip. And William goes,
wait, he put mushroom in. He put 2 kinds of mushroom in the bowl. One that's just poison for ogres, and one that's just poison for gnomes.
Yes.
Okay.
Why would you do that, John?
I know.
Why would he do that?
I'll let you know. Hold on. And so then he looks at him and he goes, "Look here.
Play the card.
What's that? Play a card?
No, I'm just saying you haven't played the card for a while, but okay.
I played the foolish card.
Okay.
Yeah. So then he hands it to his friend, and he's like, "Look at here. When we get back home, you can say hello. Is like you'll be reunited. Oh shit. Where did my card go? Oh, you'll be reunited
Played it onto the table.
Yeah. You'll be reunited with your parents, and they'll be so proud of. Well, not proud of you, proud of me, but
way to take all the glory.
We'll be able to tell them about how we got rid of this ogre here." And he says this quietly. The ogre can't hear him. He looks back at him and he goes, and William goes, "I'll take you up on that offer." And so then they each take a bowl and they look at each other right dead in the eyes. And after a while, they have a little bit of a conversation and they go, "You know, it's like, this soup ain't half bad," as he's drinking it down. And he goes,
No.
"Hold on a second. Yeah? This isn't the poisonous one." "What? It isn't? Oh, gosh darn, that must mean that I'm eating the poison one." And then Percy falls over. And a moment after that, the ogre falls backwards. And he starts convulsing. And he explodes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's a powerful mushroom.
Yeah. And I don't know if you guys can stop me from this, but
Nope, you have to play all your cards.
I have to play all my cards?
You
Shit.
have to play all your cards.
Oh, fuck. Fuck, don't pay attention. I'll take the card back.
I just said you have to play all your cards, and your ending has to be your last one.
Oh, I didn't know how to play all my cards. Shit. Okay, I passed my turn.
God!
Well, I got my answer.
John.
Wow.
So, so yeah, the thing was that the ogre actually did not eat the poisonous one. Percy's he failed his perception check actually, and he accidentally grabbed the wrong mushroom. There's 2 types of mushroom. There's the ogre killing mushroom, and then there's also the transformation mushroom.
Oh.
People get them confused a lot. The transformation one has red stripes and yellow dots. The other one has yellow stripes and red dots. Yeah, it gets a bit confusing with them. And he totally forgot at that moment. And he accidentally put the transformation one into the ogre's ogre's stew. And when he exploded, he actually transformed into a gnome. A female gnome. And she turned into... And she was not that bad looking of a gnome, if you don't mind me saying. Yeah, she was. I mean, it's like totally opposite. How ugly the ogre looked, imagine that opposite. That is how attractive this gnome was. And Percy, you know, he's kind of falling in love with this gnome. And
after 2 seconds of transformation, he's like, let's have babies.
Oh my god.
And hey John, you forgot to draw a card, by the way, John.
Oh, okay, thank you.
And so I gave it to you. And so he's falling in love with her. And the thing is that whenever the ogre exploded, her name is Francesca now. Francesca.
You gonna sound Russian?
No, because I don't have a Russian accent. And so when she transformed, she actually she flew up in the air and then landed on her head. So she
flew up in the sky.
Oh my god! No! So close.
And it sounds very close. And you said that it could be similar. So Francesca jumps up into the sky.
Oh,
no, she didn't jump into the sky.
She jumped up in the air, but it's a synonym, so kind of.
And what did she do, John?
You know, I honestly didn't think I would get this far. It's like when Plankton gets the secret formula and he's like, what do I do now?
Please, in the story, sort out his misery.
I was trying to. I just drew a card that I have no clue how I'm going to use.
To be fair, I didn't know how to use In the Sky either, so,
I was so close to finish this.
So Francesca jumps up into the sky, and she looks down at Percy, and she goes, Percy, I know that you love this, but this is not who I am. This is the result of some weird magic curse. And then Percy,
said she forgot her memory. She lost her memory.
She did? Oh.
Yeah, she lost her memory.
Oh, shoot.
Because when she was thrown into the sky, she hit her head. So.
Oh, no. Alright,
no.
So she lost her memories.
Yeah.
Francesca looks down at him, and Percy looks back at her, and for some reason he has a ring in his pocket, and he's like thinking about it, you know? He's like, man, I don't know where this ring came from, but just like my ability to cook and these awesome muscles, they just seem to come naturally to me. So I'm thinking about it. And he looks up at Francesca and he goes, darling, I just met you like today. But like literally just now. But I have a burning question to ask you. And so then that kid from earlier, he comes around and he's like, no, Percy, no, don't do it. And I was like, I don't know why it is that I gotta do this, but there's it's like I'm being compelled to do this. And then he goes, it must be part of the curse. What curse? And then Percy looks back at the kid all confused. And Percy starts to turn into the ogre. And that is why William was kind of okay with all of this, because he knew the poison that he put in there was also a transformation potion. Boom.
Wait, we just said he didn't know.
But now he does.
No, the twist, he actually knew he was doing a double twist.
Entire time. Thank you, Deus Ex Machina.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm. And now then, Percy's face is looking at this kid, and Percy's face starts to turn into William. And he looks at the kid and he goes, you gnomes thought I was done, weren't you? And the gnomes look around each other, and they're just terrified. And are you okay, Phil?
I'm okay, guys. I'm just waiting for him to say, not in my swamp.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make you pull the swamp card. And so then the little gnome kid, he's just terrified, and he
Can you pass?
I'm gonna pass the story, but I'm also going to. I'm gonna pass the story. Damn it! I don't know what to do.
So wait, what? Okay, so he turned it into the ogre, the same ogre,
He turned into an ogre.
but it's not the same one then.
No, it's the same one. It's like a weird magic thing, you know, where it's like his soul was in the soup and it went back up to him.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, shit.
You don't have to be the one that takes the story back.
Well, no, it has to go a certain order, and since you took the story from Phil, I then have to take the story from you.
Oh.
And so now Phil can take the story from me. It's not whoever wants it takes it. Okay, so the transformation soup that that Percy pretended not to know he was naked, but what he actually did make not only turned the ogre into Francesca, a very attractive female gnome, the gnome turned into the same ogre for some reason. I don't know how that happened, but magic works weird. He starts to threaten the lives of the little gnomes because all he wanted them it was to be his friends, but they didn't want it, and he starts picking up trunks and stones and starts chucking them all over the place, and it actually hits the door of the witch's place, and it breaks it. And so the witch gets pretty pissed off at that. She runs out there and be like, hey, you menace, you are destroying my home. How dare you? And she runs back in there, and that same transformation thing he did to Percy, she grabs that same item and throws it at the ogre and turns him into a frog. Because that's what you get. Now you will forever be a frog. And this happens like out of nowhere. The other gnomes are like terrified. They're like, oh crap, this ogre is gonna kill us. How are we gonna escape now? Oh no, we lost our friend to this curse, and now our friend turned into our enemy. How are we gonna survive? And then out of nowhere, bam, turns into a frog. And the witch is like, that's what you get. And so she goes back home. She goes back into her house to pick up her door and see if she can fix it. And the gnomes are like, yes, we made it. We can finally go home. The ogre is gone. And so the people, they were able to escape and return back home. That is my ending. So they have escaped, they're captured, and they found their way back home.
Wow.
I'm so pissed off.
I did it!
Wait, hold on. Question.
Yes.
I don't remember how the story started off and all this stuff. Did Phil get the ogres, get the gnomes captured, or did you?
I did.
Okay, I was like, that felt really weird. I'm like, oh, huh. Okay.
Would everyone else like to share what their ending was?
Well, everyone is my ending. I preemptively played the monster was destroyed and the city was safe once more. But we all know how that ended. Francesca.
I had the so they promised never to fight again ending, but that didn't happen. So, xenophobia and racism still is rampant, gnomish culture.
Oh my goodness.
Well, that was a story.
What was that?
That was, we got pretty Shrekish there for a while, with, turning into something pretty not, and then ogres, but in the end,
my goodness.
I guess, what was the moral of that story, guys?
What the fuck was that story?
The moral of the story is be careful what you cook because it can backfire on you.
I think the moral of the story is careful how you see other people, because like they might be different than what they say they are, but they might also they might be the people they say they are in disguise, pretending to be the people they're not. And that's the moral of the story I got out of this.
The moral of the story is be nice to ugly people, because this could have all been avoided if someone just became friends with the ogre.
I like that one. That one sounds a little bit better.
But the ogre was already an asshole, though.
He was an asshole because no one liked him.
I got the moral of the story. Be nice to shitty people just because. That's the moral of the story. You want to avoid conflict? Just be nice to everyone. Even if they're terrible people.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh my god. Well, I think that we actually got a nice little story out of that, wrapped up in a bow, kind of.
Yeah.
It's like the wrapping paper was made of like sandpaper.
It hurt a little bit, but it still did its job.
And the bow was made of like raw bacon. It's like these things don't go together, but somehow we made a thing.
I'm not proud of it though.
It's fine. This is like oh god I don't even know. I don't know what we just did, but I
mean, I think we made a story where the villain technically won and the hero lost.
Is that what we did? Wait.
Well, Percy turned into an ogre and then a frog, and now he's stuck in the forest. And the ogre turned into Francesca, and now she's gonna go live a happily ever after life as a gorgeous gnome.
Yeah. So if you don't like your life, just change it and screw someone else over.
That sounds
democracy.
So bad backwards, though. This is the worst moral ever.
So the moral of the story is that even a bad guy can have a happily ever after.
Yeah, and the good guy can also be like. I mean, granted, heroes die in the real world, but still.
Well, you know what, John? Somebody once told me that the world was going to rule me. But you know, I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. Special thanks to Phil, actually. I don't actually know what we said as the last name of the thing, because I didn't edit this. But if we did, then thank you, Phil. Regardless if we said your full name or not. Thank you very much for letting us have you on our show. It's been a blast. And, man, that really sounded so scripted. I don't even have a script in my hands. It's all good. So anyways... if you guys want to follow us on Twitter, we have a Twitter account called @CanvasCast. If you also follow our account @Sci-Star Comics, you will be able to follow up on if and when Curse Quest comes out. I said we were going to have an episode tomorrow. So if I am telling the truth, we should have one. If I am not, then, well, tough toenails. I just forgot again. Which is... a running theme for me. But, yeah. You can also follow my personal account at JohnnyVE3 or David's personal account at CC_Foz. I want to say that's correct. And until next time... Oh, yeah, that's right. We have Spectrum Files next week. So the only new recordings that you guys are technically going to be getting are our intros and outros. So until 7 weeks from now, we have new recordings.